Why do we avoid the things we need to say? I mean, it's easy to block someone, unfollow someone, or even delete their pictures from our camera roll. Yet the hard part remains speaking face to face. Going to that person to have a respectful conversation is a great avenue of repair, and it's not the only way we will get through the situation in life. What does that mean? Perhaps we can circle back to that automated gibberish. But for now, let's talk. Human interaction can be a foreign concept to some. Whether or not you have the suitable social skills to carry a conversation, it can just be hard to read people. As someone that used to be a big time people pleaser, the minute you think you're being difficult, you want to draw back anything or any situation that presents itself as such. In other words, you shut down. This could be more or less of a survival tactic, as humans have tendencies to choose the option that makes us feel less in danger. But safety doesn't always equal comfort. Our brains are hardwired for survival. From when humans were merely nomadic creatures in the open world, every decision made was about survival. Today, there are cognitive functions in our brains that look to ensure the best possible outcomes for our survival. Also, considering the fight or flight response, there are many things that try to combat the idea of engaging in hard conversations. Hard conversations that lead us to fear of losing the relationship, losing respect, losing opportunities, even losing our voice, our dignity in a given situation. These are all things that may go through our mind when we consider having that conversation or during the conversation itself. However, those worst case scenarios in our heads are often another survival tactic thanks to the wondrous complexities of the human brain. An article on the American Medical Association website titled What Doctors Want Patients to Know About Catastrophic Thoughts by Sarah Berg touches on the concept of catastrophic thinking. Tom Zabler, who was a psychiatrist in Morristown, New Jersey, explained it this way. Catastrophic thinking is a cognitive distortion that occurs when people have a hard time weighing the likelihood of certain outcomes and believe that terrible or catastrophic outcomes, which are highly unlikely, become, in one's mind, salient and extremely likely. It can become persistent and it can interrupt someone's life. The negativity bias is what the brain scans for as a means to keep us safe, possibly why negative comments and thoughts carry more weight than positive ones in our day-to-day lives. So, is there a solution? Hey, girl, I don't know. I'm just here to. I think the whole idea of the struggle of having hard conversations is it's real. I mean, I for one definitely am not good at having hard conversations. So, I thought it'd be fun if I just talked about it for a couple minutes while I build my Spiderman. It was like $5 from Kroger. Probably the smallest Lego set ever that I've built. At least there's probably smaller ones out there. I don't know. So basically, the whole thing of hold on, this is gonna be loud. The whole thing of avoiding hard conversations and avoiding confrontation, it works. For a short period of time. During the long run, I feel like it's not a good idea, especially just putting off confrontation that needs to be dealt with, or just kind of being it's fine, I'll just ignore it or just wait till it gets better or something, because half the time it doesn't get better per se. In fact, kicking the can down the road, as they say, typically makes it worse. I mean, there's plenty of examples in modern history of kicking the can down the road and it doesn't go well. And I can think of plenty of examples of things that have happened in people's lives that said, maybe they should have dealt with it before. Even in my life, I've had situations where I should have just, dealt with the problem then and there instead of kicking the can down the road. And there's other sayings about that along the same lines. So yeah, okay, I'm trying to figure out. Alright, here we go. Perfect. Directions. I would say for me personally, dealing with situations that involve other people especially people that I care about or people that I'm kind of leading in a way, it's very crucial to be aware of certain things and certain nuances that may go unnoticed typically. Or like in my personal life, how I deal with confrontation is a little bit different than how I deal with confrontation again with like a group of people that I'm leading, or like a group of friends and that differs from groups of people as well. Like if I have a friend group that I know there's someone in the group that's struggling with something pertaining to someone else in the group, and that's kind of something that they want to handle themselves. Like I'm not gonna be like go behind their back and say, oh, so and so has a problem, but they don't want to talk about it yet, you know? That's something that person on their own feel like has to come to terms with how they want to deal with it, and they shouldn't have to have another friend of theirs do that for them. That's something that they want to work on and hone out themselves or hash out themselves, which I mean makes sense. Like that's your problem. That's not something that someone else is going to deal with for you or necessarily sugarcoat. There's some things you may want to sugarcoat, like with younger kids, not necessarily to the point where you're lying to them, but definitely not to the point where you're just being like completely blunt and just being like, yeah, this is how it is. Although sometimes some kids do need that. Sometimes they need more of an explanation to kind of understand, and if they don't understand, then that's the point where you just gotta kind of be like, okay, well, you're not gonna understand this now because you're so young, but when you get older, then maybe you'll understand. I mean, and also there's so many like everyday dealings of confrontation that aren't necessarily just having someone stab you in the back or going through a breakup or losing a friendship and things like that. Simple as going through the drive-thru and someone messes up your order, like at a restaurant, that's confrontation, because you have to be there and say, hey, you guys got my order wrong, like I'm missing a french fry, or this sandwich is supposed to be a grilled sandwich but you gave me a fried one, stuff like that. And as someone that works in like fast food and customer service, that's definitely something that people don't necessarily deal with very well sometimes. I think sometimes people forget about the humanity of fast food and the workers there, and that like at the end of the day people make mistakes. It's not necessarily intentional all the time. And I've seen some things where people genuinely take it personally. I don't think taking it personal is very necessary. I mean, there's no one, at least that I know of, that's intentionally like, oh yeah, let me go ahead and mess up this person's order because like I can. However, I've seen weirder things happen, and I'm not saying that's completely out of the ordinary. Like unfortunately, I'm sure there are people out there that might intentionally mess up someone's order, or especially if someone gets mad and then they're like, okay, so you're gonna have to deal with this now since you want to make fun of the person making your food, things like that. At the end of the day, though, everyone is human, everyone makes mistakes, and we should treat each other with kindness and respect no matter what happens, even if a mistake is made. And if it doesn't necessarily tickle your fancy, that's okay. You can make it known. However, you can also be respectful about it, especially to younger workers out there. Like, half of the people that work out here are literally kids. So a part of learning and growing in life is making mistakes. And yelling at children for making mistakes over a measly sandwich and getting very vocal and angry about it and using language you probably shouldn't is not okay. At that point, it's not even that serious, genuinely. But again, there's levels to this. Oh, that's so cute. Okay, let's continue. There's a certain ingenuity of dealing with people and dealing with people in a proper, respectful way, which I feel like some people have kind of lost the idea of dealing with situations in the manner that they're called to be dealt with. I mean, not every person responds to certain levels of not only just confrontation, but like instructions as well. Like, people learn in different ways. I know I'm more of a visual learner. I can hear directions, but most of the time I really need to see it to be able to do it properly. And so, like, that differs from person to person. You can't necessarily expect everyone to be on the same page when people are different. And so you kind of have to be aware of how people deal with confrontation and how they deal with people every day, really, because you never know how, like, little things may affect them differently versus how it affects you. And same goes, like, both ways, honestly, vice versa and whatnot. Everything is interpretive, like, art is subjective and things like that. The way that I'm making this Lego set is different. The directions say one way, but I mean, if you really wanted to, you could do it another way if you wanted to. And not everything is necessarily black and white all the time. So just keep that in mind. I think I did it wrong. Yeah. Trial and error also is a big thing. Even if you don't get confrontation right the first time, or you try to confront someone about a situation that's kind of dire need or serious in a respectful way, but they don't deal with it well. Again, people deal with things differently. So not necessarily anything that they're doing wrong, not necessarily anything that you're doing wrong. There's just different ways in different situations and different instances that can take place, and there's not always a right or wrong answer necessarily. Sometimes there can be, but not all the time. And that's it. I finished the Lego set. A couple extra pieces. Maybe that's in case you lose something. But yeah, here it is. It's a little, like, ATM. And then Spiderman on a skateboard. So yeah. Awesome. So I recently watched this movie. It was a pretty good movie. It came out in 2006, which I was born in 2006. And it goes by the name of Failure to Launch. Was a 2006, like I said, rom-com that starred both Matthew McConaughey and Sarah Jessica Parker. Bradley Cooper and Zooey Deschanel were also some notable names in there, but I don't think they were as big back then. I don't know, I could stand corrected. So yeah. I watched this movie the other day, and I thought it was a pretty funny rom-com. I love a good rom-com. There's some funny bits in there. And one of the things, the main point of the film, is just having to deal with a tough situation that these parents are in. So here's the quick summary that I wrote down. Relationship coach lady gets hired by parents of a 35-year-old man who still house him, feed him, and do his laundry to get him to move out of the house, instead of blatantly telling him enough is enough. Pretty much the thing, yeah. So what does that have to do with confrontation? A lot, actually.
And I'm tough. I made it halfway through Failure to Launch.
I just never managed to get my life together. Isn't that hilarious?
You're cute.
Done.
Alright, so just the concept of a 35-year-old man still living with both of his parents, I mean, I guess do what you gotta do. However, this dude literally was fully employed, had his own job. And the crazy thing about this film is that, like, all of his friends also live with their parents as well. And they're all, like, well off into their 30s. Grown men. Which, again, I'm not here to judge, but it gets to a point. And his parents were at that point. Well, what's the thing, though? They didn't say anything.
The boy is 35 years old.
It's just not fair.
35.
We were good parents, and now we're supposed to be done.
All these parents, like, have had their kids live with them for a long time. And one of the group of parents is like,
Dougie moved out!
He moved out. And they're all like, oh my gosh, what did you do? Like, how did you get him to move out? And honestly, at that point, I don't remember how they did. However, when they go through the trouble of hiring the lady to basically go out with their son and kind of establish him as his own man that he can move out of the house, once he finds out, obviously this dude is not happy. And, like, I don't blame him. But just the concept of not being able to be grown enough to tell your 35-year-old son, hey son, it's time for you to move out and get a life. We can't help you anymore. That they have to hire someone. and they pay money for this, by the way. They fully hire her. So obviously it's a rom-com. It's a movie. They don't disclose like how much they're paying and whatnot. However, if you ever get in a situation in your life where you have to pay someone else to do something to offset the fact that you don't want to handle the situation yourselves, please don't let it get that far. I mean, Mama was literally fixing him full plates of breakfast. Full plates of breakfast. 35-year-old man. And I know what you're thinking. It's a love language to cook. I agree, it is a love language. But the man is 35 years old, living in his parents' house. He didn't even do his own laundry, y'all. His own laundry! So I'm going to leave you all with some coping when dealing with difficult conversations, as I brought up coping with those things earlier. So number 1, do something to ground yourself beforehand and kind of results with less impulsivity. Number 2, be open. What you have preconceived about the conversation or about how the person might react could be wrong. So be open. Number 3, be sure to use I statements. Anything that helps to explain how you feel personally and not just a generic answer of that wasn't a good thing to do. Make sure you're being aware about how you perceived the situation or how you are feeling emotionally and convey that. Number 4, do not listen to react. Probably the worst thing you can do. So do not listen to react. Number 5, if necessary, please take time to bring the car around. I mean, sometimes you're not going to be able to have that conversation then and there. But again, don't kick the can down the road. Just come back around when it's time. Number 6, meet in the middle if you can or if you need to. That's kind of going back to being open. It just depends on the situation. And number 7, finally, take note of how people respond and deal with confrontation. Again, like I said earlier, not everyone deals with it the same way. You kind of have to, again, not listen to react, but listen to understand and try to figure out what are the best ways to move forward in that situation. So thank you guys for watching. This has been awesome. Failure to launch. Now, and I don't think that's necessarily necessary. What? So, is that how you do it? Put the money in like this? I guess. I don't even know. Oh, yeah. Wow. And like also, just as I'm putting this Lego set together, there's like a certain ingenuity of dealing with people and dealing with people property. I think this is supposed to be back. Okay, yeah, it goes like back. And like, I forgot to put this on there. Wow. So this has to go like this. Okay, bam. And then I just have this piece. Is this extra? I think this is extra.